Whilst you watch this simple job of winching a tractor unit up a hillside, let's talk about resistances for a moment. I don't want to get too complex on this issue. As I mentioned in an earlier film, you only need to know very rough figures to cope with resistance. You've got rolling resistance, which is the resistance of the load towards moving, and you've got gradient resistance, which is the hill, up or down, which you are winching something. And then you've got damage resistance, which is the amount of damage on the vehicle. So if you look at this job we've got here, you've got fairly rough rolling resistance, so you're probably going to have about a quarter of the weight of the vehicle. You've got a reasonable sort of gradient, so I'd guess a half the weight of the vehicle again, which is the full weight now. That's half and half, isn't it? And then on top of that, we've got damage. Well, this thing is half damaged because half the wheels are pointing the wrong way. So obviously it's about 1.5 times the load. So if it weighs about 8,000, which it does, you're winching 12,000 pounds of resistance up this hillside. And that's all resistance is all about. So you may go to schools and you will read, and I was one of the early offenders in writing very complicated formulas, that you need to worry about percentages of this and that and the other. Don't worry about it. When you weigh up the job, just know what you've learned about resistance and interpret it in the sort of language you understand. So we'll see some bigger jobs in a moment, and we'll have a look at the resistances, but in this case it's pretty simple. Notice that when you get to the top of an incline like this, the resistance suddenly increases tremendously because you're changing the angle of pull. You see the wire cable is flat, but the vehicle's going upwards, and that causes the resistance to increase, and you may get a snap wire rope if you're not careful. Resistance doesn't really come into it unless you're underwater, in mud, or down a very steep incline, in which case you can have serious problems if you forget about it. They finally got the wheels straight, which has made life a lot easier for everybody.